America, Montana, winter, a blizzard that never seems to stop, and a deserted land rarely visited by people. Here, some roads exist only on maps, and in certain places, if a person disappears, no one will ever find them. In that region, there lived a cowboy all alone. His name was Michael Harris. He had once served in the army. After that, he left the city and stayed to live alone on a ranch, far from people, far from noise, far from memories. His only friend was a black stallion, a war-injured horse, but incredibly sensitive. It always sensed danger before any human did. That day began like any other. Michael was checking the livestock, walking through the snow. The sky was gray. The wind was sharp. The air was bitterly cold. Suddenly, the stallion stopped. It never stopped without a reason. It turned its head toward the snowy field and pricked up its ears. Michael looked too. Nothing. Just white snow. Silence. But the horse refused to move forward. Michael stepped ahead slowly. After a few steps, his boot hit something hard. He kicked the snow aside and began digging with his hands. The first thing that appeared was a woman's hand. Michael's heart started pounding. He dug faster. Beneath the snow lay a young woman. Her face was pale. Her breathing was barely noticeable. She was freezing. Beside her, 3 foals, young horses, cold, motionless. There was no farm here, no road, no nearby village. How did they end up here? Michael didn't hesitate. He lifted the woman and placed her into his pickup. He loaded the foals as well. The truck struggled through the snow, but he didn't stop. It took an hour to reach the ranch. He carried the woman inside, lit the fire, wrapped her in warm blankets, rubbed her hands and checked her breathing. A few hours later, she opened her eyes. "Where am I?" she whispered. "You're safe, at a ranch. I found you under the snow." She stayed silent. "What's your name?" After a moment, she answered. "Nara." She said she was from a Native American tribe, but she refused to answer the rest of his questions. She simply stared out the window and said, "They'll come after me." That same night, the dogs started barking. The horses grew restless, moving nervously in the barn. Michael stepped outside. In the distance, headlights. Not 1, 3. They approached the ranch, then stopped, turned around, and drove away. Why? Fresh tracks remained in the snow. Someone was searching. In the morning, Michael spoke with Nara. "Who's chasing you?" She stayed silent for a long time. Then she began to speak quietly. "These foals, they're not ordinary. What's special about them? They're from a wild bloodline, sacred to the tribes, but for wealthy people, they're worth a fortune. There was a group illegally capturing and selling them. Nara had been protecting them. One night, those people tried to take the foals. She escaped. The blizzard had been her only salvation. That evening, the electricity went out. That rarely happened here. The phone stopped working, too. Outside, the sound of a vehicle. Someone knocked on the door. "We got lost on the road. Need some help?" a man's voice said. Michael understood immediately. These were not ordinary travelers. He grabbed his rifle. He hid Nara. He moved the foals deeper into the barn. A few seconds later, the knocking turned into pounding. Then the door was smashed open. 3 men entered, black clothing, faces covered. "We know the horses are here," one of them said. At that moment, a loud crash came from the barn. The black stallion burst through the door and charged inside. It ran straight at the men. One fell, another stepped back. Michael fired a shot into the air. The sound echoed across the fields. "Get off my land," he shouted. They stood silently for a few seconds. Then the sound of vehicles outside. They retreated, but Michael knew this wasn't over. The final decision. At dawn, Nara said, "I can't stay here." "Why? You're safe here." "No, they'll come back, this time with more people." She looked straight at Michael. "We have to return the foals to the tribe." "Where is that?" "Beyond the mountains, in wild territory, not even on the map." Michael stayed silent. It would be a long journey, a dangerous one, but he agreed. "When do we leave?" "Today." The journey they set out. The pickup pushed through the snow. Behind them, the 3 foals. Ahead, the mountains. Both of them could feel someone would be following. Sometimes the black stallion would stop and look back. It only did that when danger was close. This was not just a journey. It was survival. 3 days later, they reached the mountains. In the distance, a native village could be seen. At that moment, the sound of vehicles came from behind. They had returned. This time, more of them, armed, blocking the road. Michael pressed the brakes. Nara said quietly, "There's no escaping now. This is where everything will be decided. Snow, fields, silence." And then, the first shot was fired. When the first shot rang out over the snow, the sound echoed through the mountains. Michael understood immediately. This wasn't just an attempt to intimidate. They had really come for the foals. Across the road, 3 pickups were parked, black, tinted windows. The faces of the occupants were hidden. Nara spoke quietly. "These are them, the people I ran from that night." Michael kept his foot on the brake. His heart pounded, but his expression remained calm. "Should we turn back?" he asked. "No, they'll circle around anyway, and they'll get them," she replied. Suddenly, one man stepped out of a pickup, black jacket, tall, cold expression. "We can talk," he said firmly. Michael did not open the door. "Leave this place?" The man smiled. "This isn't your business. Hand over the horses, then we'll leave." Nara gripped his hand tightly. "They'll never just leave," she whispered. At that moment, Michael realized for the first time, these were not simple rustlers. They were organized, armed, experienced. Nara spoke quietly. "They capture wild-blooded foals, sell them on the black market. Wealthy people buy them, sometimes for racing, sometimes just for collections." "Police? They can't reach them. This place is too remote." Michael looked around. Snow, fields, mountains. Indeed, help would not come here. The man in black raised his hand. Immediately, others appeared from both sides, 6 in total, armed. Michael said quietly, "Don't leave the vehicle. Don't release the foals." He opened the door and stepped outside. The wind struck fiercely. Snow pelted his face, stinging his eyes. "Last warning," the man in black said. "Hand over the horses. They're not yours." "They will be." Suddenly, a loud sound came from behind. The black stallion broke free from where it had been tied behind the vehicle and ran forward. It stopped as soon as it saw the intruders and began pawing the ground. Its eyes changed. The horse sensed danger. When the first man approached, the stallion let out a loud snort and charged straight at him. The man jumped back. A shot rang out. Snow flew into the air. Nara screamed. Michael understood. Talking was over. He shouted at Nara, "Drive the foals." "Where?" "To the mountains, now." Nara immediately opened the gate and released the foals. They ran, frightened but instinctively, toward the mountains. The horses always flee toward higher ground. It is their instinct. At that moment, the black stallion followed them. The men in black fired. Michael ducked behind the vehicle and returned fire. Shots rang across the snow, echoing as if the mountains themselves were answering. Minutes later, silence fell. The foals had escaped into the mountains. The black stallion went with them. The men in black tried to circle around in their vehicles, but the snow was deep. No path. Nara and Michael ran on foot toward the mountains. Their breaths came fast. The wind cut through their faces. From behind came shouting, "Stop them! Don't let them escape!" This was no longer a struggle over livestock. This was survival. Night fell. They reached the forest. No lights could be seen from behind. But that didn't mean they were safe. Michael lit a fire. Nara sat silently. Finally, she asked softly, "Why are you helping me?" Michael remained silent for a long moment. Then he said, "After the war, I realized something. If you don't help those who are afraid, you lose yourself." Nara closed her eyes. "They won't stop. Neither will I." Around midnight, the sound of horses reached them. Michael jumped to his feet. From the forest came 3 foals. They had come on their own. Behind them, the black stallion. It had left the humans and returned to its master. But most astonishingly, no one had followed. Nara was amazed. Impossible. They should have found us. Michael noticed something else. There were other tracks in the snow. Not human. Large. Deep. Someone, or something, was moving in the forest. The next morning, they continued on the road. Across the mountains, a native village appeared. Hours later, smoke was seen in the distance. They were approaching. But then, a gunshot rang from behind. The men in black had returned, this time on foot. They had tracked them by the trails. Michael drove the foals forward. "Run!" They were getting close to the village, but the distance was still significant. Another shot, then another. Blood stained the snow. Michael grabbed his shoulder. He had been hit. Nara screamed. Then, something unexpected happened. A loud roar came from the forest. The ground seemed to shake. Through the trees, a massive, dark shadow moved. The horses panicked. The men looked back. One whispered, "What is that?" Then a piercing scream came from behind them. Someone fell. A shot rang out, but it missed its mark. Another loud roar. And then, silence. Something had lived in this forest long before them, wild, unafraid of humans. Perhaps a legend, perhaps a predator, or a secret guardian of this land. For Michael and Nara, the fight had only just begun. The gunfire gradually faded. Only the wind could be heard. The men in black, lying in the snow, remained motionless. The others backed away, staring into the forest. Something had just moved among the trees. Large, heavy, silent. Michael clutched his wounded shoulder and fell to his knees, blood flowing onto his hands. Nara grabbed him. "Get up! The village is close!" she shouted. They drove the foals forward, pushing themselves to the limit. The men left behind did not fire again. They were afraid of the forest. Minutes later, wooden houses appeared through the snow. Smoke rose from chimneys. Dogs barked and people began coming outside. Nara screamed, "Ours! Help!" 2 elders ran forward, helping Michael inside. Women guided the foals into the barns. The village immediately sprang into action. They laid Michael down, cleaned and dressed his wounds. The last thing he heard before losing consciousness was the voice of an elder. The forest has awakened again. A few hours later, Michael opened his eyes. Nara sat beside him. "You're alive," she said softly. "What about the others?" "They didn't reach the village. They stayed in the forest. A moment later, an old man with a white beard entered the house. He was the village chief. "You protected our land," he said to Michael. "That is why we will protect you." Michael remained silent. "What is in the forest?" he asked quietly. The chief gazed into the fire. This place was alive long before humans arrived. Sometimes nature sends a guardian. A predator? Perhaps, or something older. Nara joined in. "I heard it as a child. There's a legend. The Watcher of the Mountain." The chief nodded. "Sometimes it appears, sometimes it does not. But whenever danger comes, it always awakens." At dawn, the sound of vehicles came from the edge of the village. The men in black had returned. This time, more of them. They stopped along the road, not entering the village. Among them was a new figure, a man in a suit, urban, calculating. He stepped forward slowly. "Let's talk," he said. The village men came outside. The chief replied, "Leave this place." The man in the suit smiled. "We want the horses. We'll pay. These horses are not for sale. Everything is for sale." He raised his hand, and the men behind him lifted their weapons. The village fell silent. Michael watched from the window. He understood. These were not simple thieves. This was big business, and here they would not stop. At night, Michael stepped outside. Even with his wound, he walked steadily. The chief came to his side. "You've been to war, haven't you?" "Yes." "You don't fear gunfire?" "I do, but I don't run." The chief nodded. "We need someone like you." "Why?" "Because this isn't just a fight over horses." He gestured toward the forest. "They want this land too. Mines, roads, they'll move us." Michael remained silent. "So the foals are just an excuse?" "Yes. This fight would be larger than they imagined." That night, the snow began to fall heavily. It was impossible to see, impossible to hear. At that moment, the power went out again. Dogs barked fiercely. Then, gunfire. The village was under attack. The men in black came from the forest. They entered houses, breaking into barns. They attempted to take the foals. Michael ran outside. The elders joined him in defense. A true battle erupted on the snow. Gunshots, shouts, the pounding of hooves. Then, that sound again. From the forest, heavy, trembling the ground. The men in black froze. One shouted, "It's back!" Through the trees came a massive, dark shadow. This time, everyone saw it. Taller than any human, movements like a predator. But it did not attack people directly. It circled around them. The men in black panicked and began to retreat. One fired a shot. The shadow ran and struck him down. The others fled toward their vehicles. Seconds later, silence. Only snow fell. The shadow slowly disappeared back into the forest. At dawn, the men in black were gone. But Michael understood something. This was not the end. They would return, with more people, with more weapons. Nara came to his side. "You can leave now. This is not your fight." Michael shook his head. "No. Now I am part of this place." He looked toward the forest. "And besides, we are not alone." Michael looked toward the forest and noticed new tracks appearing in the snow. No one had retreated. These were not ordinary human tracks. "It's back," whispered Nara. Without a word, Michael glanced behind him. Through the trees, a massive dark shadow appeared. It took a step, then stopped, observing them. This time, with every movement of the shadow, the forest itself seemed to react. The trees shifted unnaturally. The wind grew stronger. Snow whipped across the ground. Michael realized this was not just a predator. This was the guardian of the land itself. The men in black regrouped and readied their vehicles. This time, they crossed the line and tried to enter the inner part of the village. "Tonight, they'll take the foals," said Nara. "We can't stop them." Michael looked out the window and noticed something. The dark shadow silently followed the foals. It did not attack the humans, but it prevented them from acting. "This is a force unlike theirs," said Michael. "It's helping us." Nara's eyes widened. Isn't it a legend?" she asked. "You just saw that it's real," replied Michael. The foals ran toward the mountains. The black stallion followed behind them, acting as a guardian. The men in black fired at it, but the horse made no attempt to flee. "They couldn't find us," Nara said, but the tension remained. Michael understood. Even if this trial ended without a complete loss, larger conflicts were coming. He made a promise to himself. He would never turn back. The elders gathered. They looked at Michael. "You are not alone," they said. "Every heart that protects this land is brave." Michael shook his head and paused, thoughtful. "We need a strategy," he said. "They will return, with more people, with more weapons." "We are defending not only the foals," added Nara, "but the village itself. This place protects us." Snow fell. The forest grew quiet. But Michael understood. The forest's calm was deceptive. The true test was only beginning. That evening, Michael stepped out into the forest and looked back. The men in black were gone. But he could feel it. They were planning to return. "They'll come back," said Nara. "They always come back," replied Michael. From the forest came that same unsettling sound again. The dark shadow did not appear this time, but Michael felt its eyes watching him, flashing uneasily. "This fight isn't over," he said to himself. Nara nodded. "We cannot flee. This place is our protection." Michael looked at the mountains. Only snow and wind surrounded them. They were not alone. They were always being watched. Then, "We need the foals and the spirit of this land," he finally said. At dawn, the forest was unusually quiet. The wind had stopped. The dogs didn't bark. Even the horses made no sound. Such silence usually comes before something happens. Michael felt it. He stepped outside near the barn and looked into the distance. Dust was rising at the foot of the mountain. Then the sound of vehicles reached him. This time, they weren't hiding. They were driving straight toward the village along the road. Nara spoke softly. "This will be the last time." The men of the village gathered. Each held a rifle or a stick. The elders came outside as well. The women led the foals inside. Michael looked over everyone and said, "There are many of them, but we will not be afraid. We will not step back." The major attack. The vehicles stopped. This time it wasn't only the men in black. There were more people. Some were armed. Some had equipment. The same city man in a suit stepped forward. "I'll say it for the last time. Give us the horses. Then no one will be harmed," he said. An elder replied, "This land is not for sale. Then we'll take it by force." The men began to spread out. At that moment, the first shot was fired. After that, everything descended into chaos. A real battle began on the snow. The villagers defended themselves. Michael moved at the front, acting like the former soldier he was, organizing the people. But the enemy was numerous. They pushed closer to the village, trying to break into the barn. The foals panicked, stomping and trembling. Nara calmed them, whispering, "Don't be afraid. You're not alone. At that moment, the ground trembled again. A loud sound came from between the trees. The men in black froze. The villagers fell silent as well. From the forest, a massive, dark shadow emerged. This time it came closer. Its shape became clear, human-like, but enormous. It moved like a predator. Its eyes glowed in the darkness. It did not attack the people directly. It simply blocked their path. The men in black began to retreat. One of them fired. Instantly, the shadow rushed forward and knocked him down. The rest panicked and fled. Some jumped into vehicles, others ran into the forest. Within minutes, silence returned to the field. Only the snow continued to fall. The shadow slowly turned toward the village, then disappeared back into the forest. After the battle, the village slowly grew calm. Michael, exhausted, sat down on the snow. Nara came and sat beside him. "It saved us." An elder approached and sat near them. "It always does," he said. "What is it? A beast?" Michael asked. The elder shook his head. "No, it is the spirit of this land, the guardian of these mountains. Our ancestors protected this place, and nature has not forgotten their voices." "So, it stands against people?" "No, it preserves balance. If someone tries to break this land, it awakens." Michael looked toward the forest. For the first time, he wasn't afraid. A few days later, the men in black did not return. Police arrived from afar and found only the remains of vehicles. The city man had disappeared. Someone last saw him walking into the forest. After that, no trace of him was ever found. The village slowly returned to life. The foals ran freely along the mountain slopes. The black stallion remained beside Michael once again. Nara stayed in the village and began helping the people. And Michael, he did not leave. He became a part of this place. One evening, Michael walked alone into the forest. Snow was falling gently. In the distance, the sound of horses echoed. Then, silence. Suddenly, that same dark shadow appeared once more among the trees. It did not come closer. It simply watched. Michael stood silently as well. It was as if they understood each other. This land was now protected, and anyone who came here with bad intentions would always find an answer. The shadow slowly faded back into the forest. Only one set of tracks remained in the snow. Large, deep, and beside them, human footprints, Michael's. Above the mountains, the wind quietly whispered something. The story was over, but the secret of this land would never end.